Internet comic friends, I'm Travis, and it's new comic book day. Woohoo! Or at least new comic book day for me. Friday. These are comic books from January 9th. Second week of comics for the new year. 20 issues, my invoice is telling me. Let's see what we got. I have probably only read 3 issues of last week's comics, so Comic Book Roundtable will be interesting this week. So we'll see how many I get read. I think Comic Book Roundtable is just me tonight, so, or not tonight, but Saturday. Gonna just be me, so we'll see how that all plays out. And how well I do talking to myself. Anyway, let's talk about the comics we got for this week that I'll be talking about 2 weeks from now. Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 2. I enjoyed issue number 1. Looking forward to getting into the story. Since reading issue number 1, I have seen the Spider-Verse movie. More of a Miles Morales fan than I was before. I haven't read a lot of Miles Morales, this Spider-Man. I'm excited to see where this goes and whatnot. Yeah. I'm assuming this is like him trying to... How does he manage all of those things, right? How does he manage the supervillains, even though they look more like luchadors? His time, his phone and social friends, homework, money, love life. He's a superhero who has time for a love life, right? So, The Adventures of Super Sons, issue number 6, Attack from Tomorrow. Is that supposed to be Carter Hall or just some other Thanagarian? Or is that a Thundercat? It's a Thanagarian. Anyway, we'll see. Godelsky. So, new artist on the book. I actually like Godelsky and a lot of the stuff that he does. Tomasi writing it. Haven't been super excited by this since it became a limited series. But we'll see. Hopefully, maybe this turns it around. I hope. Because I like the characters and it used to be a lot of fun. Ugh. Love that cover. Issue 62 of Batman. And it is a King's and Mitch Gerads on art story. So I'm always super excited. They are a great creative team together. And, of course, we get to a little bit of Pig on there. Great Grant Morrison character. Little bat, let me in. I just love the blood splatter and then the silhouette of Batman there is pretty awesome. Cool looking stuff. More cool looking stuff. Cemetery Beach, issue number 5. Super action-packed comic by Warren Ellis and Jason Howard. It's just been a lot of fun. It's great sci-fi. And they do this really good job of kind of giving us this world, this new place, while it all being set up in a giant action scene. I mean, every issue basically has just been one non-stop action scene. And they've been able to kind of give us an idea what the world is like around that. So it's been pretty cool. Definitely looking forward to reading that. Straighten my mustache out. Didn't do that before I turned the video on. That crooked mustache. Anyway, so, Criminal. Criminal is back. Issue number 1. I've only read bits and pieces of Criminal. I am a big Eddie Breaker and Sean Phillips fan. I am somewhat curious because they're using a different colorist now, for whatever reason, whether it be political reasons or otherwise. Elizabeth Brewster, yeah, that's the artist. I had to figure out the artist, is not doing the coloring on the books anymore. It is Jacob Phillips, which I'm assuming is a relative of Sean Phillips. So I'm opening it up to look at the art and see what it looks like without her coloring. And they're using the same sorts of palettes, but I have to say it's not as strong, I do not believe, as what Brewster's coloring is. So would be curious to know the history behind that. Why the change in colors? Because she's been their color. She's basically been the art team with the rest of the team for quite a few number of years now. So why the change? It's not like she's quit working, because she does the colors for League Weeks, at least when he's doing the Batman issues that League Weeks does. She colors that. But I don't know, like I said, is it her somewhat alignment with the Comicsgate creeps or what? I'm not sure. And the only alignment that I am totally aware of is that she is married to a guy who's definitely in bed with the Comicsgate yahoos. So anyway, Die issue 2. I finally got issue 2 of Die. I think this actually came out last week, but this is when I'm getting it. Oh, look, it's a dude that's vaping and he's got brass knuckles. Anyway, issue 1 was cool. Great art by Hans. Interesting story premise. We'll see where it goes. It's definitely going to be a fantasy story of sorts. A group of people as teenagers played some extra special version of, like, D&D, some role-playing game, and they seemingly got transported away someplace. They come back 2 years later. Now it's been like 20 years later, and they end up getting sucked back into this world. Now we'll see what happens, because one of their friends, the DM, was left behind. See what that's all going to be about. Issue 2. Issue 5 of The Dreaming. Gorgeous, gorgeous book. If nothing else, as I keep saying, the Blue Scarecrow art would make it worth it all on its own. This has got Abigail Larson, Matt Lopez, and Quentin Winter also. Not sure what creators they are in it. Simon Spurrier. He's going by Simon now, I guess, not Cy. Great, great writing. This book just naturally feels like it belongs in the Sandman universe. So we'll see what happens next. Some good stuff. Credo, issue number 48. I just found out, not very few days ago, that this book is ending at 50. I don't know what's next for it. The Benson sisters are off the book. This is the first issue without them on it. Kelly writing it. Lansing Fernandez, I think, is the artist. Not sure. Some Count Vertigo stuff. I like Count Vertigo. We'll see how it plays out and whatnot. And I'll check out, I don't know if Green Arrow's permanently gone or if they'll restart it again. I see I think Suicide Squad's ending at 50 also. I don't know. We'll see what it is. See what the new writer is. I'm not going to be that heavily invested because supposedly the book is ending. Supposed to go out on some crazy bang or whatever. We'll see what that's like. Green Lantern issue number 3. Cop versus God in Slave Lords of the Stars. You're under arrest. So, some brilliant art in this. I have not been excited by the first 2 issues. I'm hoping, and this is weird because normally I'm hooked on most Morrison books right away. I can get kind of a feel of what's going on. This one, I don't know I'm getting a feel of what's going on, or I'm tired. Yawn. Sorry about that. Or I'm not feeling it. It's not a feeling I want. But we'll see. See what that ends up being like. Justice League, issue number 15. Battle of the Hawks. Read the first issue of this new arc. It's got 3 characters I really like. Hawkwoman, Martian Manhunter, and John Stewart, Green Lantern. And I did not care for the issue. I've been enjoying most of the stuff up to this point. I did not care for that issue that much. It was rather whatever. If this issue tends to be the same way, I'll probably write out this arc and then I'll be done. As much as I really do want to read the Justice League. And I like some of the ideas that are going on in the Justice League story right now. But the reality is my free time has become limited. And there's other things I want to do. I love reading comics, but I need to kind of drop some stuff that isn't really holding my attention, or doesn't strike my fancy in some way. That doesn't mean it's the greatest book in the world and I'm only keeping the great books. It's gotta do more for me, and this hasn't been. So that means it's time to go. Like I said, with my limited time, I rather just read the stuff I enjoy. I got books for Christmas that I want to read, and I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to read prose and get all the other stuff done that I want to do. So, anyway, Martian Manhunter issue number 2. Issue number 1 was a lot of fun. kind of some backstory of, who Martian Manhunter was at home. I'm looking forward to more of the detective part of the whole thing. Of course, the Riley Rosmo art is good fun on it. Ended the last issue, Martian Manhunter was kind of losing his corporal form. He was kind of getting all strange and whatnot with his detective partner, who clearly does not know that he is a Martian or that he is Martian Manhunter. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to checking to see what that is. So then we got Suicide Squad: The Black Files. This is issue number 3 of 6 of the miniseries. Clarion Unleashed. So we're gonna get Clarion, Witch Boy, doing some crazy stuff in it. So I'm looking forward to that. I think this is another Fraser Irving cover. Looks awesome. Really digging it. I believe this. I thought I read somewhere that this is the last. There's 2 stories in this. There's the magic story, which the cover is reflecting, and there's also the beginning of it, a Katana story, written by Barr, who's one of the original creators of Katana. I hear this is the last issue of the Katana story stuff, which is probably okay. I've been enjoying the Katana stuff up to this point, but we just haven't left the same kind of like story and plot, and I want to see more of something. So I think ultimately we'll see Katana in the Outsiders book whenever that actually gets released. But I'm not getting that. Anyway, fun reading these little short mini stories, and this having all these like magic villains in it and whatnot for that half of the story is pretty cool. So this book is extra thick because it's got two stories in it for $1 or more. More Birthright. Now it feels like Birthright is coming fast and furious, which I'm really excited about. Continues to be the best beard in comics. There's Mikey there. Mikey's battling his magically juiced up brother. We'll see how this all pans out. I just continue to really enjoy it. 35 issues in, and this book just does not bore me. It's got just the right. And for a Williamson book, sometimes Williamson's pacing I'm not super excited about, but I'm really digging it in Birthright. It's just been really good, and of course the Brenson and Lucas art is phenomenal stuff. So I hope in trade, if not in singles, they're making good money, so that guy's getting paid well for the work he's doing, because he puts out some amazing work. This work is just great. My camera's not going to focus, but the really tight line work, the fine inked details, the little textures, that's missing from a lot of modern comics. A lot of modern comics, they leave the colorist to do all the heavy lifting, and instead of some of that hash marks and that sort of stuff that that make old school comics really good. So, Bitterroot issue number 3. Really enjoying this book. Supernatural, set in the 20s, and it's this family battling the things that go bump in the night, and it's just really good. It reflects on some racism. It touches on some of those things, which I enjoy too. But the main focus is this battling of things that go bump in the night, and I'm all over those kinds of things. Issue number 4 of Faith Dreamside. This is the end of this mini-series, which I'm actually pretty happy about. Cover looks kind of cool, because I love tentacles. Not in that way. Anyway, but issue number 4, I just really haven't enjoyed this miniseries all that much. It felt rather pointless, despite having basically the same people who have been doing all of the Faith books doing this one. It just, I don't know. I like just a regular Faith book where she's doing superhero stuff, and here she's kind of gallivanting around fantasy-wise in the world of the dead, and it just has not been that intriguing. Book I'm super excited about getting back to. Euthanauts, issue number 5. I don't know if this is the end for now of this, or if there's one more issue. But the Robles artwork, the Rob Robles artwork is just super good. And De La Cruz colors. Man, this book just has all the right perfect elements of a really good, like, traditional Vertigo book. Romel's panel work is really good. Almost every issue has some really great panel work in it that just really looks really sharp. This adventure of kind of the last frontier, death. What happens after death, life after death, is the last great frontier kind of here. So we've got these euthonauts that are kind of hooked to a metaphysical tether and drifting off into the deep space of the afterlife and coming back and reporting on that. And clearly, we're threatened right now. Our character is her suit is cracked, her helmet's cracked, and this skeletal form is coming down. But the art in this stuff just super good, and the story is really interesting too. So a book I was kind of excited about because I like books that have to do with music, the music scene, anything like that. This is Gunning for the Hits, music thriller issue number 1. Got this kind of quasi Thin White Duke Bowie-esque character in this, and I have seen that there are some pretty hefty Jewish racist stuff in the book that I've only seen a page kind of. So not totally in context, but I'm not sure how the context is actually going to work. That does not make it that. So I'm going to read this now, but I'm bummed knowing that that's there when I go to read it and decide what I'm going to do there. I'm not saying you shouldn't have racism in a story. You just need to justify it. Why is it there? Or is it just racist because you threw it in there? Kind of a thing. And it being tone deaf as opposed to addressing something. So we'll see. We'll see. That may drop it off really quickly. I don't know what the book is about, to be quite honest, other than I knew it looked like it had to do with music and whatnot. And I always pick up books that have to do with that kind of thing. House Amuck, issue number 4. I don't think this is the last one. I think there's one more. Or maybe this is the last one. It's tying up also for a ending. I don't know, is it a permanent ending or not? The Black Crown stuff, this imprint from IDW that Shelley Bond produces. I love most of these books, but they've all been seemingly short-lived with no real announcement of it's going to go on or it's not or what's going on with the Black Crown stuff. But yeah, this is a great and disturbing book of kind of like a mass hallucination, a mass buying into some insanity that has them murdering and whatnot. And the two youngest of the family are like 10-year-olds. One of them has kind of come to her senses and is trying to pump the brakes on the rest of the family. But the two little girls, the two twins, they seem to have this psychic ability to kind of influence everybody else around them and the world around them in some sense. So the cockamamie story that they were kind of making up just to entertain themselves is seems to be real, or real enough that the family is acting on these insane impulses to murder people and whatnot. And so how do you walk away from that? Or how do you walk away from that when your twin sister is telling you they're going to walk away from it and they're not? Just really, really intriguing stuff. I forgot. That's my word now. Intriguing, not curious. LaGuardia, issue number 2. Issue number 1 was all right. We'll see what happens next. We've got this. Aliens are a known thing, but they're kind of quarantined in places. They're not just allowed to roam free. Some of the alien life forms are plants. LaGuardia Airport is like it is now. It's kind of a place where everybody comes when you're coming into the country of the United States. There's some protests there. This woman is clearly pregnant. I think she's impregnated with a partial alien baby. She has snuck in. Some aliens into New York as like houseplants, but they're not really houseplants. They're aliens. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a push and a pull. It's an immigration story but using actual aliens to some degree, as opposed to immigrants trying to move into the United States that are human. So, and finally, this time around is the final issue of Sleepless. Only 11 issues. Kind of a bummer. how it ties everything up in this issue, I do not know. I'm assuming our lovers escape, or maybe they're murdered, and it's the classic romance as far as that kind of thing goes. I don't know. But it's a shame. I really enjoyed the kind of slow story that this was, this kind of exploration of the courtly life and what it's like to be the daughter of the ex-king, but still related to this king, and the fine lines you have to walk amongst that, and this potential love interest between these two characters and whatnot. But anyway, that is it. I hope to see you all tomorrow night. I will be on. I'll be talking about last week's comics and whatever else comes up. Anyway, have a great weekend, and until next time.